Okay, let's look into this article from Fortune. Housing math just isn't mathing. A Fed president says, ripping into not in my backyardism and homes that are increasingly unattainable for too many workers. Look how stressed this man in this thumbnail looks. The math isn't mathing, and obviously our colloquialisms are entering into the chat. All right, the math isn't mathing. Hopeful homebuyers' earnings just aren't adding up to the cost of housing, leaving people desperate to break into the market. You don't expect to hear that from a central banker, though. Cue Tom Barkin, president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, who gave a speech on Wednesday at the 2023 Virginia Governor's Housing Conference. The obvious problem with the housing market, he said, is that it's become incredibly unattainable for too many workers. Just look how stressed this man looks. He is an adult and he is just stressed. He's looking at a calculator. Take teachers, for example. The math all too often just doesn't work for them. Here are his sums. Middle school teachers in 2022 made a median salary just over $60,000, Barkin said, which means they could only afford a $228,000 house, assuming the traditional $20% down payment. The problem, though, is that the median price for a starting home last year was $299,000, and that is the off chance you could even find one. Barkin was speaking to the area his bank serves, but his observations apply to housing markets across the country, where hopeful homebuyers are taking on astronomical monthly payments thanks to decades, high interest rates, and ever-increasing prices. Indeed, monthly payments are up 60% year over year, according to a recent report by real estate data and analytics firm Black Knight. That is a whopping $871 more per month on average. In fact, the average monthly principal and interest payment for borrowers on a 30-year fixed loan in July 2023 was more than $2,300, the average principal and interest payment on record, the highest average principal and interest payment on record. What's even more of a shock, though, is that 1/4 of homebuyers pay at least $3,000 per month, Black Knight data shows. This is placing more and more folks into the house poor bucket. Oh man, with many spending upwards of 60% of their checks on their mortgage. This is the reason why people just don't have it. And I really wonder what the holiday seasons are going to look like, what next summer is going to look like. Are they going to be traveling? Can people afford to even take off days to have a vacation? What is really going on? To make matters worse, wages and home prices aren't growing at the same pace. Average hourly earnings have increased 21% since 2019, but the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller home price indices shows a 48% jump during the same period. The math has been getting worse. At the same time, of course, mortgage rates rose from 3.9% to almost 8% today. Man, why did prices spike so much? Demand and supply. How to make the math work and take on the not in my backyards. Barkin outlined a few ways to make the math work in his speech, mostly tied to improving housing inventory, which is down 8% year over year. According to the National Association of Realtors, Barkin suggests that communities need to rally together to make that case that housing is integral to economic growth, and that brought him to the scourge of inventory, the NIMBYs, so the not in my backyards. A famous phrase in housing circles, the not in my backyard homeowner has been famous for blocking development in their neighborhood for decades, famously in the Northern California's Bay Area. Not in my backyardism is real, and failing to secure buy-in from the community adds time, cost, and uncertainty. How do leaders rally their communities? They articulate the case for housing. Rental math also doesn't add up. While housing markets are different, it's still generally cheaper to rent than to buy because of high mortgage rates, home prices, and the amount needed for a down payment. Many younger millennials and Gen Zers are saving up by staying home with their parents or even renting together with their friends so they can put together a down payment on a home. Starter homes have largely gone by the wayside. It's almost essential to do this for the most part. The math for renting also isn't great. Supply and demand hit the rental market too. In 2021, rent spiked as national rental vacancies dropped to levels not seen in almost 40 years. The same teacher he used as an example would have faced a median asking rent of over $1,600 per month in 2022, already a stretch for their budget. Now that price is up 22% to over $2,000. This is challenging, y'all. This is stressful, y'all. The math isn't likely to change for prospective buyers in the near future. Mortgage rates hit 8% in mid-October and have been dropping some since then, but buyers hoping to see a drastic drop anytime soon are out of luck. So we're all just, how are we supposed to buy houses? How are we supposed to do all of this stuff? This is why the birth rate will continue to drop, because people can't even afford to live and survive. In fact, Capital Economics, a London-based research firm known for its housing market forecasts, said in late October it doesn't expect rates to fall significantly for at least the next 2 years. So for at least the next 2 years, we're going to be po. It continues to say that the rates might decline, but they are unlikely to fall below 6% before the end of 2025. We're now at the end of 2023. So we're not going to see anything fall below 6% before 2 years from now. How to make the math work, but building more inventory and fighting the not in my backyard people won't come easy. Communities need to realize that they're competing for developers, Barkin says, suggesting implementation of more tax incentive programs. Y'all, this is not going, all of these suggestions that they're about to make, there's nothing here for the everyday people that are just struggling, trying to figure out how they're going to live, be warm, eat some food, make sure their kids have clothes and all that good stuff. So I'm going to end this article right here. What are you guys paying general amount in your area? Tell me what part of the country you're staying in the general math of what you're paying for rent or mortgage. I'm just trying to see something. Drop those numbers in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment,